All right, we are up and going. We start a few minutes late every time. Every time. We gonna get in here on time one time, but just not this time. How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And today on this and that, what we are talking about is the monogamous idea of relationships. Now, bear in mind, I remember that we were talking about last week. Not last week, yesterday, about the what were we talking about yesterday? The conversation about us falling short with our communication with women. That's what we were talking about yesterday. See, I had to go in a deep thought. I had to go in a deep thought. Okay, so we were supposed to be discussing yesterday about women um, and the conversations with women and how those conversations fall short. And I kind of had a short show yesterday, and I was sitting over here thinking about it today because I was feeling bad on the show yesterday, and I just didn't want to try to force it. But I looked at the topics that we were discussing yesterday, and then I thought about it, and I was like, man, in yesterday's conversation, I actually left out one of the reasons why conversations fall short when we're talking to women yesterday. So today we're going to be talking about monogamous relationships and whether or not they're good or bad for us. But I'm actually going to also segue over and talk about those conversations that fall short with women, because it's interesting how we when we try to talk to women about certain things, we come to find out that the conversation that we have is really dying down, and you actually realize that when you're communicating with her, especially if you're communicating with her on social media or something like that, if you say the wrong thing or bring up the wrong topic, they typically ghost you. And modern 2024 time, when you're talking to these women like that, a lot of them are really looking for cues. They're looking for key words in your discussions, almost like search engine words. And you've got to understand that if you're trying to bag a chick, then you really want to find out what the keywords are to get that girl's attention. But if you want a real woman that's going to give you the attention that you deserve, the respect, the loyalty, and admiration that you deserve, you're not looking for those keywords. You're looking for behavior patterns and responses. And if she's not giving you the right responses, you're cutting her loose, because why waste your time from the first date to the divorce to get to the divorce, where you're giving her a percentage of your income from the time you meet her until the time she divorces you and takes half of whatever you got left. I was sitting over here thinking about the fact, damn, if one of the things that we think about marriage, why do you think women talk about marriage before men? Women are not looking for commitment. You don't give a shit about commitment. They're going to lie and say that it's about commitment. Women are going to talk about commitment in marriage because they're locked in to the financial obligation that if we fall apart now, I get half of your shit, fucker. So the thing is that when the woman is sitting over here threatening, and it's a threat, guys, it's a threat. When a woman is threatening, oh, you don't got a ring on my finger, that threat right there, she's just trying to lock you. It's a manipulation tactic where she's trying to lock you in to a situation where you're financially obligated as the husband to compensate. And then you'll be financially obligated as the ex-husband to compensate because you failed to compensate during the marriage. It is not a scenario where the female is going to level up like using a moonstone on a Pikachu, and she's going to all of a sudden evolve into a wife. So let's understand that real quick, fellas. Let's understand that. It's not going to happen. But when we're talking to certain women about certain things, because when we get into this topic about monogamy and whether or not monogamy is good or bad for at least the men, because it's good for the women, and we're going to talk about why it's good for the women, but I want to talk about, is it good for the men? So before we get on that, I want to talk about real quick one of the things that I found to be very interesting when you're talking to women about stuff that they're not interested in, and one of the things that you're talking about is like whether or not they'll pay for shit. You kind of know whether or not you got a selfish chick or whether or not you got a chick that you can grow with. Now, how do you know that you got a girl that you can grow with when women are always misleading men into believing that, oh, we should at most go 50-50, but more often than not, the man is expected to pay? How do you know that the woman that you're dealing with is legit? How do you know that the woman that you're dealing with is about that life? There's two ways that you can go about doing them. One of those ways is not very beneficial for you financially, but if you did it, you'll see what's up. Um, when you're dealing with these females, when you're communicating with them about their contributions, because women swear to God that they bring so much to the table, that they're the total package, that they're the best thing since sliced bread because they're attractive, not because they're a helper, not because they can rebuild cars, not because they can help you with your business, not because they can increase your profit margin by 30%. They don't come in and tell you that they're beneficial to you because they're able to reorganize your life better than a personal assistant. They're not going to tell you that there are ways that they can save you money and help the money that you save make money for you. What they're going to do is they're going to tell you that I'm all that, a bag of chips and a cookie. And because of that, you're supposed to pay for my whole existence. So I'm supposed to pay the membership fee without ever benefiting from the membership fee. That's what you're telling me, because you offer a package that I don't get to benefit from. I don't receive anything from it. And likely when you're looking at this particular type of offer, like the only thing on the table is sex as a prize, and sex is not supposed to be the prize. And if the woman is only as valuable as the sex acts that she can perform in the bedroom, then she ain't valuable at all. Because when you come up out the bedroom, you still got shit to do. You still got your shit that you got to take care of. You still got her shit that you got to take care of. Because any woman that is going to move in on a man under the guise that the man is going to take over at least 50% of her responsibility, that means that he's taking on 50% more responsibility, which means that this man is going to be running an operation at 150% obligation, where he was originally operating at 70% income towards that 100% obligation. Now he's got 150% obligation, which means that he's over his obligations. And now he has to balance his priorities. She, with 50% less obligations, now has 50% more under the simple premise that she doesn't have to kick out as much. You got some women that, oh yeah, they'll kick out. They'll pay half the rent, half the light bill. They might go Dutch. We even had some fans on the show on both YouTube and TikTok talk about how they have those egalitarian relationships where the girl does pay for herself and the man pays for himself. Now, even though those relationships are effective, they're still roommates. You guys are homies. Y'all aren't in a committed relationship where you guys are looking out for one another, because if I'm only taking care of myself and you're only taking care of yourself, then we aren't taking care of each other. If I was paying your way and you were paying my way, we're taking care of each other. But even still, there should be some alterations where you're able to pay for me some of the time, I'm able to pay for you some of the time, and we're able to take care of each other. But we don't see that a lot of times. So when we start talking about today's dynamic of, is monogamy good? What is monogamy going to accomplish besides reducing the quantity of STDs transmitted between partners? What is monogamy going to accomplish? Does anybody know? Because from what I've seen so far is that in monogamy, you have the less likelihood of having a larger quantity of financial debt from additional offspring outside of your primary relationship. By not having an increase of debt from additional offspring outside of your relationship, you have the ability to have a larger quantity of resources maintained inside of your primary relationship, which means that monogamy is going to benefit the primary girlfriend, because the primary girlfriend is going to get the primarily larger quantity of resources out of the relationship. When you stand aside after you start talking about the cost of the relationship that the man has to pay, beyond that, monogamy is not really all that beneficial. Women establish emotional connections with men on a regular basis while still having a constant boyfriend or a husband. Men do not establish as many emotional relationships after they are involved in it. Now, keep in mind, I'm not going to say that men do not have female relationships. That's not the case. I'm saying that men do not attempt to establish more new female friends when he is dedicated to his current woman. When he is dedicated to his current woman. Because you got men who are done with this chick, but they just don't have it in them to get rid of her. And they might keep her around. She's the primary girl that he identifies as the girlfriend to everybody, but he got this other chick that he's seeing on the side. We had the conversation earlier today on both TikTok and YouTube where the ladies were saying, oh, well, it's only the cheater's fault when cheaters cheat. And that's not true. You first person accountability, both parties are involved in a relationship. Both parties are involved in a destruction of the relationship. So that also means that even though you are not the person that committed the act, first person accountability has you responsible for your decisions that you make and how those decisions impact you and the people around you. The other half of first person accountability is that you are responsible for the decisions that other people make around you that negatively impact you. So how is that? Your responsibility for their fucking up the rotation is your inability to do something about it before they fucked up your rotation. What do I mean by that? All right, you've got a friend. He's a thief. Okay, I could use the big word kleptomaniac, but some of y'all watching the show might not know what that word means. He's a thief. You got a friend that's a thief. You take him to a store. He steals something. You go to the register, you buy something. Y'all were walking around, talking, having a good time, hanging out. You turned your back for a little bit of time. Wasn't really thinking about it. And now all of a sudden, security is bringing you and your homeboy to the security desk, accusing you of being his lookout while he was stealing something from the store. Truth is, you knew that your friend steal. You go to the store with that thief, you're responsible for his actions. If you go to the store with somebody who is going to steal and you are not going to pay for the shit that they touched, knowing that if you don't pay for what they touched, that they're going to try to steal it, you are not supposed to go into the same building as them. You are not supposed to travel through the aisles with them, and you are not supposed to leave when they leave. Because if you do any one of those three, you will be considered associated with him. And God forbid that you guys go to the store, you park your car in the parking lot, you find a place close to the door, this person gets caught stealing, he comes out of the building, gets into your car, now they're writing down a license plate of your vehicle, and now all of a sudden you're getting pulled over for stolen merchandise in your car. Possession is 9/10 of the law. So car owners in trouble right now, because you got a thief in your car that just stole something from the store that your car was just at. Likewise, in a relationship, when you're dealing with cheating, you have to understand that first person accountability is that you're responsible for how you treat your partner. If your partner is sad and depressed and you're not catering to their needs, you're responsible for the fact that you neglected your partner's needs. If your partner is affectionate and you're not expressive, like we've had a woman on the show that was not very expressive to her boyfriend, and he goes and gets that expression of affection from somebody else, you're going to say, oh, well, that's not my fault. He should have just been a man and toughed it out. It's like, look, ladies, no, it doesn't work that way. From the utilitarian perspective, when you put it on the other side, if a man worked 10-hour days, 18-hour days, and when he was not at work, he was hanging out with his homeboys. He didn't spend much time with his girlfriend. If he worked 2 jobs and he was gone all the time, he's not home that much. She's home alone. That woman becomes attracted to the pool boy or the tennis instructor or something like that. She starts having an affair because she is in an emotionally distressed situation because she does not have the love and affection and acknowledgement from her partner. While it is still wrong for her to cheat, in that scenario, the contributing factors of her cheating included his inability to recognize her, acknowledge her, and engage her. So now that we're going to flip the script back onto the men. Men want to be respected. Men might date a girl because she's attractive. He might have threw a little bit of money at her every now and again when he had extra money. Now his money is tight. Now he's sitting over here arguing and bumping heads with her because she want to get her $600 Brazilian weave done. You don't have the money for that. You're trying to pay the bills. He's got a house full of frustration. You're leaving the house to go and blow off some steam and get the stress off of your chest from the behaviors of your wife. This may lead you to getting involved with either another random chick or hiring some chick to give you some attention where you're not being treated like garbage. And that will lead into potential affairs. You also have men that spend more time at work because they're trying to provide a certain type of living that the wife wants. And the man actually ends up in a positive relationship with the lady at the job, because you got to understand, in order for our girlfriends and wives to have work husbands, somebody's husband has got to have the work wife. So it's a two-part process, which is why we say that cheating is not exclusive. So because it's a two-part process, if you are neglecting your partner emotionally and you are not acknowledging your partner emotionally, your partner can find physical or emotional attention from someone else to substitute the absence of affection that they're getting from you. So there's somebody on the show that came up to the show telling me, that's not the case. Oh, if you cheat, you just cheat because you're a cheater. But, I didn't do anything to contribute to that. You also didn't do anything to stop him. You also didn't do anything to change his mind. You also didn't put any effort into loving and caring for him and cherishing him so that he would not feel like he should have to go get this from somewhere else. So take to the consideration, let's throw up there cheating. Let's take that to consideration. I said, let's draw a diagram. If you've got a person, you've been cheated on once, it's a one-off. Same person, been cheated on by 8 different people. It's no longer a one-off. It's a common occurrence. That person's mentality is that all men ain't shit because all the men that she dated cheated on her. That doesn't mean that all men are shit. It just means that her choice is shitty. Her choice in men is shitty. So if she's got a shitty choice in men, then she's not going to attract the right guy. If she's dressing inappropriately and she's attracting people that are only interested into her for sex, then she's not going to attract the right guy. But in the situation where the woman is being cheated on by 8 different boyfriends, the concept that you have, the common occurrence that's happening there is the person being cheated on. So I actually asked somebody in the comment section, I was like, how can you blame the cheater? When it's a one-off, you can try to write it off on a cheater, but first person accountability, you should be able to think back to what did you do or what did you not do that aided in the ability for your partner to decide to cheat on you. Then recognize your partner's a cheater, he's a bastard, or whatever, and you're going to move on with your life. But you still have to double back and recognize that if you got cheated on in 8 other different relationships or 4 or 5 other different relationships, ask yourself, well, what am I doing wrong that each person that I select is cheating on me with somebody else? Because that is the common factor in each one of the times you've been cheated on. If you've had 5 relationships and out of those last 5 relationships, 3 of them cheated on you before, and that cheating was the cause of your breakup, what happened? Did y'all lose interest in each other? Because if she lost interest in you, you likely also lost interest in her. You could have stopped being expressive and then she could have lost interest, or because you're choosing the wrong chick where you're chasing sex and she's chasing money and there isn't enough money there and she lost interest in you because there isn't enough money there. She's moving on because there's more money somewhere else. But if you continue to pick that type of girl, because not all women are like that, if you continue to pick that type of girl, it is your poor decision-making process that gets you into a toxic relationship that you know is not going to end, but you're going to try to ride this wave as long as you can before you bottom out and bust your nuts on a bar. So you're in a prison that is called a relationship, and you are not 100% happy, but I mean, there's available frequent sex, or not even frequent, just remembered, identified, almost like a temporary password that hasn't been changed in a few months. It's still there. You can still use it, but eventually, it's going to expire and you're not going to have that anymore. You're going to have to replace it with another one. we're not dealing with longevity. We're not dealing with the fact and the idea that we deserve better, that we deserve to have that long-term companionship. So we're stifling our success by lowering our inhibitions and lowering our intentions. So in a monogamous relationship, is that beneficial for the guy? Well, of course not. It's not beneficial for the guy. Financially, it's beneficial for the guy to be in a monogamous relationship. I mean, you can only hug one person at a time and give them a true on warm embrace. But the fact of the matter is that men that are in a monogamous relationship, you actually get less in a monogamous relationship as a man than what a woman gets. Let the women marinate on that for a second. A man receives less in a monogamous relationship than a woman does. Why, do you ask? Well, think about this. The woman is going to get out of the deal consistency. The man's going to get consistency. The woman's going to get financial compensation. The man's not getting financial compensation. He just has a guaranteed debt. Outside of the sex with the girl chooses when to have sex with him. So if he's in the mood, she's not in the mood, he doesn't get sex. If she's in the mood and he's in the mood, he'll get sex. And if she's in the mood and he's not in the mood, he'll get sex, because he can't tell her no, he's got a headache. She's going to call him everything but a man. So, in those situations, your sex drive is not being satisfied, or your desire to procreate is not being satisfied about the current accessibility to sexual engagement. Like we just found out the other day, a gentleman from the Philippines has 36 kids since 2022. He's working harder than Nick Cannon. 36 different baby mamas. Now, variety is everything with men. But the key factor is one of the main reasons why he's able to run around 36 kids in the Philippines is because he's able to afford that, because shit's not that expensive in the Philippines. The Philippines is 20%, 30% the cost of the United States, middle class. So 70, 80,000 a year, they'll rock 12. The whole standard of living, they'll rock 12 for a $70,000 or $80,000 a year lifestyle. So he can afford to throw the resources around and take care of 36 kids. Not in America. 5. It's probably all you're going to get. Some kids are not going to get taken care of. That means they're going to suspend your license and put you in jail for back child support, which causes you to lose your job, which causes you to stop making money, which causes you to stop paying child support, which causes you to continuously have this revolving door for 20 years of going to jail and coming out on child support. And I got to tell you, it's a sucky situation, but that's where you're at. Betting your women will avoid that situation. But with the rest of monogamy, since she's going to control how much sex you have, she's going to control when you don't have sex, which means that you're going to be manipulated by your partner, because your partner controls when you get intimate. She doesn't have that. A man is not going to control when he's able to have sex with her, because he has to get her consent, even in marriage these days. So if she says no, no means no. But also if she says give her money, you're not getting none if you don't give her any money. So no doesn't mean no to men. So when it comes to men, I'm sorry, that's the factor. No means no to men, but when it comes to the man, no doesn't mean no. No means give it to her. And when he says no, then she's going to cut him off to force him to give her something that she wasn't entitled to. These relationships are very problematic style relationships, because the benefits from the female is not unilaterally equivalent to the benefits of the male. What he's getting out of the deal is not what she's putting in. And what he should be getting out of the deal is not what he's getting out of it. Plain and simple. Now, also another factor that happens with monogamy, because in 2024, we've got a lot of monogamous relationships. We got a lot of open relationships where you got somebody, but you also got a side piece. You got more than one person that you smashing at the same time. And this is men and women both. But the factor is that the lack of monogamy in the relationships doesn't make the relationships better. But if a woman is tired of her man, she don't want to do the things that he wants and needs, instead of them having full out arguments where, you know, he's talking about leaving her because he's not satisfied, if there were multiple women involved, if she got a headache, she could tag in Tuesday. You know, the Tuesday stomach hurt, she could tag in Wednesday. If Wednesday's back hurt, she could tag in Thursday. But each one of you is still getting the same girlfriend treatment as the other one, where you don't got to pay for what you need, what he needs to pay for, and he might even give you a little extra on the side. This type of mentality is one of the reasons why certain people in the Philippines got 32, 35 kids, because they're U.S. citizens that went over there thinking that they were going to set it up, and they went over there and started a whole freaking football league. Like, the whole family is joining the team. You're going to have like 12 different players with the same name, same last name on the back of the jersey. You're going to think that that's the club name. There's going to be so many kids on the team with that jersey name. And one of the things that we have to understand is that when we start talking about the monogamy and we start talking about the actual equivalence of relationships versus marriage, it's like, bro, you are supposed to be monogamous when you decide that that's the one that you want. Because I don't recall ever finding out anything in the Bible that said that the man is supposed to be innocent and pure to marry the woman. I'm more than sure that the original scripture and the current scriptures is basically talking about how the woman is supposed to be conforming to the man. So when you start talking about, you know, the woman getting a bunch of children and the man paying for that woman and all those children, that's a common rare occurrence. So you got to be able to stand on principle to expect and ask for the reciprocation from your partner, because if you're not seeing it, you're never going to see it. A wife is not made by the marriage. A wife is made before she gets married. And one of the things that we get is that women will shame men for doing the same things that women do. But the only difference is that because women are going to shame men about it, the men are going to feel bad about doing the action and then stop doing the action because they don't want to be belittled by their girlfriend or their wife. Well, keep in mind, fellas, in a relationship, your partner is only willing to do what they expect you to do because, or vice versa, they're only expecting you to do what they're willing to do because of the simple fact that if they've done it before, they shouldn't be the only person that's done that. So if you're dating a female and she's the kind of person that would probably cheat on you, for her to type up a dossier to give you a dissertation as to where she plans on going because she can't trust herself, so that you can give her a dossier of where you're going because she can't trust you either, transparency doesn't benefit you. It just benefits her. I mean, I know a lot of guys will want to know who's smashing their wife, but with the laws that we're at right now, you could castle doctrine all you want, but you're still going to do 180 days in county as they beat around the bush and get you to your dismissal plea. Ruining your name on paper, ruining your name in person, all for the sake of. It makes absolutely no sense. But we put ourselves in these positions because as men, we're not prioritizing the right thing. So instead of you focusing on get your drink on, you should be focusing on the 20 questions you're going to be asking the girl across the table from you. You want to know her responsibility levels. I told you earlier, how do you know what kind of female you got? Well, if you take a few $100s, this is why I told you it's a waste of money. It's not feasible. But if you take a few $100s and you hand it to her and don't give her any instructions, if she comes back and had not spent that money on improving something about you, whether she got you some new clothes, got you some new shoes, got you something to eat, grocery shop, paid some bills, if she didn't do something to benefit you, then you're not the priority. That's one of the things that we've been having a hard-hitting conversation about, is that you're not the authority. She don't got respect for you, because the women that respect you will go out, get money, and bring it back to you. You got to remember, back in the day, before women's liberation, a man would come back while man had all of the money from the man and the woman. The man would come back from work and spend all of his money on the woman and child or kids. So if he's able to put all of this extra effort into the whole family, including the positioning of the man, he's got a whole lot more going on than a female that just says, "Oh, well, I'm attractive and I can do this because I'm a girl," or "I can't do this because I'm a girl. You should do it for me because you're a man." That's unrealistic. But you could also do it without throwing money down on the table. You could put like 12 books somewhere. Let's see how long it takes for her to pick that shit up. But if you do it with money, you'll actually get a better response. And the reason why is because if you put down $50, just charge it to the game, itemize it to your C corporation, put $50 where she can get it. If she don't bring it back to you and say, "Hey, you dropped your money," you already know that you're dealing with the wrong one. You can have one that can leave the lights on for you while you're going to do what you're doing inside the store. But the fact is that if she's going to take that money and she's going to go and spend it on herself, she's not going to better you, then she ain't worth your time. And that's what we were trying to get at. So when we say, well, how do you know what she's here for? Well, who does she go after? Notice I said, who does she go after? Not what was she trying to accomplish, or what did she go after? What did she gain from this? I'm saying straight up, because it's true. It's one of those situations where you put a lot of time and effort into somebody, but that somebody doesn't put that same quantity of time and effort back into you. The lack of reciprocation. So if you're dating a chick that takes that handful of cash and she just gets her hair and nails done and buy herself a new outfit and then come back, "Oh, don't I look pretty?" Yeah, you look perfect for your next interview. And then I'm going to push you out the door. I've had women that will say, "You can't tell me what to do. You're not my parents." I said on the show about how a grown man, one of the richest men in the world, has a team of people that grown man answers to. And that's one of the reasons why, likewise in dating, when you select a person to be your partner, it's just like when the president selects a person to be one of the agents. The fact is that when that flag comes out, you have to be able to paint on it. You got to be able to put loyalty on that flag, and you can't do that. It's possible to kind of piece the states together to reflect that, but you can't really do that in reality. And it's one of those really tough situations that men technically overlook. Hold on a second. I got to get me a fast shot of espresso here because twice in 1 week. I'm going to typically run a 1-hour podcast. So when we were discussing the shortcomings of the men that are in monogamous relationships, you're looking at the fact that because you are not allowed to socialize with anybody else, you're in an excessively deprived fate and fashion, because you cannot make more friends because your girlfriend will troll your phone and treat you like garbage if you make a friend. You got to be able to get, if you get the number, you got to be able to get the number and leave. Then you got to be able to press forward with barely any success. And why would you do that? Why would you put your effort into trying so hard for something that's not for you? I get confused. Lord, my back hurts. Pray for me, y'all. Pray for me. There it is. Whew, had to stretch it out. I get confused when we look at the dynamic that we're in. And as a man cannot say anything towards or about a woman where she did not give him permission to do that. When did the authority shift from being equal to being women in charge. Because I'm completely lost on that. I really am. But monogamous relationships are good for reducing costs in the relationship, especially if you have a monogamous relationship where everybody's pitching in. If you have a polymeranious, I don't know, it's like a chihuahua kind of relationship, then you need to make sure that everybody's holding their keep as well. But you have the opportunity to swing someone else's way. Now, this has its pluses and minuses because some guys are bragging about how they're able to utilize the passport to get around and get around. And the truth is that they still have the specific criteria that you need to have in order to get around. We're not getting that criteria met as men, but we're still trying. Women don't even have to try to meet a criteria. They just got to show up. And since they're gluing eyelashes to their face, they're able to back the pretty eyelashes and get what they want. I got to tell you, that's not where it's at for me. So try this, for example, monogamous relationships. You have, let's say you have a female with multiple female partners or multiple male partners. You've got one of the men that wanted y'all to be exclusive. You're reducing her options. So if the shoe was on the other foot, even though men do not get approached as much as women, the number of options that the man might have had destroyed by the moral and ethical expectation that a married person is not supposed to be dating or marrying a single person. Especially those that are doing it under a religious background, because marriages are for life. So divorces are not recognized. So quick question. I see Kelly, aka Nina. How does that make sense? Because I mean, Daniel Bully makes sense because it's bully, but you're Kelly and Nina at the all same time. And is Kelly our Kelly, or is that a different Kelly? I got to tell you guys, I burn a candle at both ends out here. I got contracts midnight through 8 o'clock, and then I got to get up and take care of business, and I got to run this podcast. Boy. I gotta tell you, I hit the wall sometimes. These are those situations where have you ever been good on your way to work, and then as soon as you start working, you ready to take a nap? That's where I am right now. That's where I am right now. It's wild. It's wild. I'll give it another few, and then if it doesn't wrap itself back up, I'll work my way around it. Either way, back to the monogamous relationships, because we're gonna have pause on the monogamous relationship. I just thought about something else. For the rest of you guys, I was talking to you guys. We got another product shipped in, or being shipped in. So we're gonna start doing some affiliate shows coming soon. But while we're working on affiliate shows, we got some posts put up there on the show. I want to make sure that you guys remember to like and subscribe and join the membership. Make sure that you guys point out to the fact that we are 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 5 Pacific, and it's 8:55 right now. So, but we ran 15 minutes late to get started because I actually had to get myself a cup of coffee because I started feeling it right before the show. I got to tell you, I got me some coffee and I still felt groggy. Do you know that you are extremely tired when coffee doesn't keep you awake? Did you know that? Also, fatigue can contribute to a heat stroke because I'm here in a three-piece suit in a semi-air conditioned room. It could be that as well. But you're extremely tired when coffee doesn't keep you awake anymore. But yeah, double back to my point. We were talking about monogamous relationships. Since the monogamy does not benefit the man is the only person that is taking a loss in a monogamous relationship. When men break up with women, men lose money, women lose time. Time is the only non-renewable resource, but it takes a man 2/3 of his life to build the life that he wants to have and have the stuff that he wants to have. And when he's got to set all that stuff off because a relationship doesn't work out, it took him 20, 30 years to get this far. And now he's got to start over. That's going to be more devastating on a man than a woman. Women are going to be being more physical, are going to be devastated by the action of the crash, but they're going to be afforded a rental car, and that's pretty much going to be the end of it. It's going to pay for itself. They're not really in it financially invested into its success in order for the failure after the non-financial investment occurs leads them to dividends. And I just asked myself why. Like, well, I've overheard a few women talking about their entitlements as women and the expectations of men, but what we don't have is women coming up and saying, "Oh yeah, well, in order for me to be responsible, I should probably pay all the bills," or in order for me to get you to look at me a certain way, I should dress a certain way. In order for me to be earning mutual respect from the people around me, I carry myself with respect. And carrying yourself with respect includes your outfit, includes your attire. Notice that every time you see me come up on a podcast, you see me here with a different outfit, different kind of suit every week, different colors. I think I should have used the black and blue. That probably would have looked better with this, but it serves a purpose. So, that killing me. I see jumped in. How you doing, Red Void? How is Romanian weather right now? Because I was actually talking to somebody from Thailand and they were telling me that it's hot as fuck because it's getting a little bit toasty over here in the United States. I just want to throw that out there real quick because I told you guys I'm going to be making those travels, so there's going to come a point where I'm going to be like, yeah, we're going on a road trip until we reach as far south as we can, and then we're hopping a plane and then we're going to drive the rest of the way. Speaking of driving, the contributions that you get from your females, not too many women actually insist on driving their man around. Actually, as a matter of fact, any type of action or activity, most women feel like they are not obligated to perform that task, whether they're a breadwinner or not. But you guys remember back in those days when like back in the good times era, where a man could buy or bring money home to his wife, and then she buy everything that the family needs, and then whatever's left over goes towards the bills. Notice how these days, if you give a chick a stack of cash and don't give her any instructions with that cash, she's gonna bring you back a receipt if you're lucky. But everything from head to toe has been added on to her. But so she looks kind of a decent. I can't say reasonably attractive. I can only say decent, but she's not natural enough to be a good qualification of a wife or a girlfriend. But we hook up with that chick because we get to sleep with her on a regular basis. And while the participation of females in the bedroom is not really all that high, the fact is that the allowance of the man to perform whatever actions he's performing is one of the reasons why it pays for itself. Not too keen on it, but I mean, that's the way things are. So we recognize that monogamous relationships are not good for men. They're actually beneficial for women. Historically, it's always been designed to be a way to preserve the women's accessibility to resources, because if he doesn't have 6, 7, 8, 9 kids, he doesn't have 6, 7, 8, 9 places to send his money, which means that he has enough money to take care of his current wife. And I mean, if he's dealing with alimony from a number of marriages, you got to annul one or something in order for you to have enough money to take care of all the wives. It's strange, but there's very few cases right now that do the stroke of luck and everything benefits the man. It very rarely happens. It very rarely happens. There are some things. There are some things, but there ain't a lot of things. There ain't a lot of things. So we already understand that monogamy is good for the ladies, but we understand that monogamy is not good for the men. The men do need a variety. The men do need more emotional and physical connections than women expect to get. Women have the opportunity to be in the friend zone, but the women need to put themselves into their own. They need to take themselves out of their own bubble and put themselves into a group setting where they're taking into consideration the fallout that negatively impacts the other people in a relationship. Because when you're in a committed relationship, a monogamous relationship, the same way women expect a man to cater and provide to her and all of her wants, needs, and desires, the woman has the same obligation to provide the same type of catering to the man. So some women feel like it's being a slave to the man by cooking and cleaning and everything else behind the man, organizing his shit while he's out there making the money, make money for the both of them, so that she doesn't have as much stuff to pay for. The fact of the matter is that if you've got a man doing it for you, and you've got your girlfriend doing it with you, and your girlfriend brought her girlfriend doing it with her, the three of y'all in there taking care of the house, the situation is not as serious as it would have been if it would have just been him by himself. But the difference between a man and a woman is that if the man really wants to dedicate his off time to getting that done, he would get that done and just not have a female present, because her ability to make his situation less stressful when he gets home is not being met by her. And at the beginning of the show, we were talking about how cheaters cheat. Well, if you're not playing your role at the house, then that means that some boyfriends and girlfriends are going to go and find somebody else who's going to play that role better. That's just how that works. So a lot like last night, because I was actually purging the podcast today before I started the show. So I was getting rid of all of our outdated videos from November, December, and March, so that we have a lot more room to trigger the algorithm for October. And now I got to go in there, I got to get everything out of the playlist, and then I got to go back in there and post up some of these shows from yesterday and today onto the other social media platforms. So, I got a lot of busy work, and then I got a contract coming up in a few hours, so kind of got to spin the wheels here. But what I want you guys to do is make sure that you stay tuned, because guess what? I actually had somebody come to the talk to me about the podcast. He came, like, I gave him a bunch of information about the business ideas and market configurations and everything to that effect. I was able to help him with trying to get into some real estate. Now I'm looking at, like, damn, I could have built my own real estate company with all the knowledge I was sharing. So after I had that long conversation with my Uber driver, I was like, shit, I'm going to go ahead and start flipping and turning. But I do have about 3 or 4 different affiliate marketing campaigns that I have to do. I haven't done them yet because they're mailing me the product, and the product is moving slow because of the mail system, the delivery system. So certain projects are getting there in a reasonable period of time, and other projects are taking a long time. So while I'm trying to wait and figure out what's what and who's going to do what, I'm just, winging it on autopilot, trying to make things make ends meet. But since this is going to be a pretty short topic, I'm going to actually wrap it up again today. I appreciate you ladies for coming to the podcast. But ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to ask y'all to make it make sense. So please, ladies, make it make sense. And then while I sign out of TikTok, you guys, I appreciate y'all coming to me on Twitch and YouTube. Only 43. Is it a game day today? Because I should have looked into whether or not we were having a game today, because that does change the dynamic. But yeah, I feel like if we are, why do they have? There it is. I'm sorry, I'm trying to log out of TikTok. TikTok's like, oh, would you like to do the survey? Sure, I would like to do the survey. Then after I click, then I'm like, wait, hold on. I can't find the value I was looking for. Got me bent. But that's neither here nor there. either way, this is when the wheels start turning, and this is when I say, you know what, I should probably tap out a little bit before I rack my brain. But yeah, make sure that you guys like and subscribe on the show. Make sure that you guys join a membership. We got a lot of merchandise coming up. I've got a bunch of merchandise tagged up on the show, so you should be able to see it somewhere across the bottom of the show. The links to the show. I actually do have to make sure that I get as many of these items as I can, and then I'm going to bring them up onto the shows as often as I can, so you'll be able to see all of the products that I was getting my hands on, which will aid you in your ability to join the bandwagon and do what I do. But beyond that, you know, you guys got to stay on your non-negotiable expectations for behavior. So that means that there are certain things that you just cannot tolerate. So since we're standing on principle, since we're standing on no means no scenarios, we got to put ourselves in a situation where no means no. No means nope, we're not doing that. Because that's going to be the only way that we're going to make it. Does that make sense? But as I go on these long drawn out tangents, I just want to thank you guys for coming to This and That, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. I'm your host, Xander, and I'm going to let you guys go a little bit early again tonight because I do want to finish maintaining the page. Because as I adjust the YouTube page, make sure that you follow me on YouTube if you're not already on YouTube. I'm releasing a larger quantity of shorts and videos. Note, YouTube made a change. So the change that they made is going to include 3-minute shorts. So you'll be able to see access to more of my videos will get shown. So I'm actually purging the podcast to make sure that during the new releases, I have more space on the podcast to release more videos. Because typically when you have more than 450 videos, apparently you're not receiving the same quantity of traffic that you was, because it's kind of trying to share impressions across a few hundred or a couple thousand videos, whereas you could have consolidated and then the impressions would have been limited to the number of videos you have access to, which should increase the quantity of impressions that a specific video gets, which should increase the quantity of viewership that the same video will get. So we're going to try to see if that works. But in the meantime, I'm going to be trying to spin some things around and try to make it do what it do, because I know I got some fans that wants to see how the real estate thing works, how the money marketing accounts work, how the extra bank accounts and the Clio works, how profits make money for you, all this other stuff when we're looking into the complexities of things. But, hey, where there's a will, there's a way, right? With that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and sign out. I really appreciate you guys coming to This and That and everything in between. I gotta make an intro and an outro. I'm gonna have to make some phone calls. I know some DJs. We're gonna have to do some music beats. I'm gonna have to get me like a little segment where we kind of like I gotta put some reels together where like some laughs and jokes is up there. I gotta do something because I see this outro every time I go to sign out, and the outro is empty. And I like making sure that all of my actionable videos are actionable. So I gotta go ahead and go find some, maybe do a collage, maybe take one of these shorts videos from one of these other videos and throw it up there. But I gotta do something that shows that, damn, this is what it is. But either way it goes, I'm gonna go ahead and put a pin in today's topic. I really appreciate you guys coming to This and That, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. I'm gonna see you tomorrow night, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, and 5 Pacific.